In this video, we're going to be continuing our conversation on solving compound inequalities. And this time, instead of just getting comfortable with inequalities, we're actually going to do some solving. So, example one, consider this compound inequality. So, compared to the last lesson, you'll notice that it's not a simple statement of p is greater than and p is less than. This is one where we have to do a little bit of math first. So, all we're going to do is we're going to treat these as two separate problems, and we're going to solve them independently. So I want to get p by itself. So I'm going to add 8 to both sides. My 8's cancel out. I'm left with p is greater than or equal to 9. I have this word or right here, so I'm going to bring that down. And now I'm going to solve this side. I'm going to add 8 to this and add 8 to this. And I get that p is less than or equal to -3. So this is what I think the answer is, right? And now what I want to do is I just want to put it on a number line and see what I see. So number line, -3, put way over here. 9 we'll put over here. And let's put what we see. This is an or, so I'm not looking for overlap. I'm just looking for any point that's mentioned. So we're talking about the point at negative or at +9 and greater. Those are all solutions. But also any point that is less than -3 is a solution. So it's really not any different than what we did, other than we need to boil it down to the variable being greater than or less than before we know what to graph. In interval notation, it's already in set builder notation. We've already got the answer there. So this is -infinity to -3, including the -3, union 9 to infinity. And there we go. Any of those points will work. All right, let's take a look at one that is an and question. So on this one, we know it's an and because it's written together. So we have options here, but the safe option, especially the one I'm going to show today, is let's just split it up into two, much like we had in the previous one. So I'm going to rewrite this, and how you rewrite it is up to you. I'm just going to write from the x plus 2. So x plus 2 is less than 8. And I'm going to use the word and because that's what it means. X plus 2 is greater than 4, right? We read from the variable greater than the 4. So now we're going to solve them separately. Still have the word and. X is greater than 2. So I'm going to put those on a number line. Make sure there's some overlap here. Let's call this 6. Let's call this 2. 0 would be over here. X is less than 6. So that would be everything starting here and going down. And x is greater than 2. That would be everything starting here and going up. And so those are not the answers. The answer is which points actually meet those criteria, and that would be those guys right there. Set builder notation. We could put these now back together as a statement and say clearly that x has to be less than 6 and at the same time greater than 2. Or we can simply say in interval from 2 to 6. All right, that's really about it. I've got 4 sample problems for us just to try before I turn you loose. So let's go ahead and give these a go. Pause the video and do them yourself first. Make sure you know what you're looking for. Overlap or just any point. All right, so this first question is an and question because it's written together, indicating that it's and. So I need to solve 4 and minus 2 is less than 10. And I need to solve 4 and minus 2 is greater than or equal to 6. So I'm going to solve the way we know how, which is hopefully getting very automatic for you. So I get n is less than 3, bring the and down. add 2. 4n is greater than or equal to 8. That's an n, believe it or not. And so I get n is greater than or equal to 2. So before I decide, because it's possible without analyzing this that maybe those don't overlap, right? So we have to stop and think about, what is it telling me the answers are? So let's make sure there are answers in the first place. So here's 0, here's 2, here's 3. I'm looking for values less than 3. Don't go to autopilot mode. Make sure you're going the right direction. And n is greater than or equal to 2. That's going to be everything over there. So my answer is this overlap right here. So I can put them back together and say x is less than 3, greater than or equal to 2. And I could say 2 to 3, hard bracket on the 2. All right, let's do B. This is an OR question. We're not looking for overlap. I'm treating them separately. I'm also noticing my good friend, this negative, which is going to come into play. So spot these negatives early. Think about the implications. This negative is not really stressing me out too much, but this one is, because I now know that I have to divide by -3, which gives me x, which gives me -3. If that wasn't enough to screw up on, I also have to remember to swap the inequality because I divided by a negative. So I get x is less than -3. All right, solving this problem. I don't like this divided by 5 right here. And so I'm going to start by multiplying everything by 5. And I can do that because everything's being divided by 5. So by starting by multiplying by 5 on both sides, I can deal with that 5 and cancel it out. And so I get 2x plus 1 is less than or equal to, let's see, that's going to be 25, 15, it's 175. I'm going to subtract 1. I get 2x is less than or equal to 174. And I'm going to divide by 2. And that's going to be x is less than or equal to 87. Yes, 87. So I'm going to put it on a number line before I decide exactly what I've got. I've got -3. I've got 0. And 87's way the heck over here. And I want you to notice this is an interesting question. Because unless we've made a mistake, and I'm going to pause and make sure I did not, I added 4. I divided by the -3, which turned my greater than into a less than. So I'm definitely graphing this guy, and I'm saying x is less than -3. And this is what I'm talking about autopilot. Don't get into autopilot mode. You're expecting ORs to kind of always move away from each other. But look at what this statement says. It says x is less than or equal to 87. So that means this one is going to be including the 87. Let's change the color here. And then everything less than. So what is the statement I can give that'll let you know that you've covered every point in the answer? And I guess what I'm saying is this x is less than -3 statement right here is kind of redundant. It's unnecessary because guess what numbers are already less than -3? All the ones that are less than 87. So I think I should be able to not report this as my answer because this is not a necessary statement right there. Because x is less than or equal to 87 seems to do it all by itself and cover all of the answers. Because these are all answers, these are all answers, these are also all answers, including that -3, because again, it's satisfying the 87 condition. And so that's kind of what I'm saying is don't just assume that this is your answer. Your answer comes from putting the points on the number line and seeing what you have. So x is less than or equal to 87 would be the answer. Now, I don't know that I intended to do that tricky of a question at the beginning, but here we are, and that would be the answer to it. All right. What we have to keep track in our head is, yes, they overlap. That's fine. We don't care that they overlap, but what we care about with an or question, which is what this is we are looking for any point that's mentioned. And that would be all the numbers less than 87. Okay, let's take a look at this one. I'm spotting something that's also going to make sure I get this right. I'm seeing that minus on the n. That's going to be something I'm going to have to deal with appropriately. This is an and question, so regardless of what happens, I'm looking for the overlap. So 5 minus n has to be greater than 3. So I'm going to just do my steps, paying attention to the negatives. That's 13. And divide by negative 1, which is going to give me n is greater than, I have to switch it, negative 13. Right? I'm dividing by or multiplying by negative 1 here. And I'm going to subtract 5. Giving me negative n is greater than negative 2. I'm going to again multiply by negative 1, which is going to swap the inequality, and I get 2. So now whatever happens on this number line, I'm looking for the overlap, and that alone will be my actual answer. So let's see what we get here. I'm going to put 2 here, I'll put 0 here, and negative 13 is way over here. N is greater than or equal to negative 13. So that's going this way. That's good. And n is less than 2. That's this way. So the overlap is going to happen. Put it on the number line. Everything in between. All right. And finally, on this last set, this is an and situation because they're written together. So I'm going to rewrite it. 5x minus 2 over 7 is less than 6. And 5x minus 2 over 7 is greater than 4. In both of these cases, again, I'm going to multiply both sides by 7. So that cancels out. I get 5x minus 2, because the 7s are gone, less than 42. I'm going to add. I'm noticing I don't have any negatives to worry about this time, at least on the division part. I'm also noticing that it's not going to be a nice, pretty number. 5 goes into 44 8 times. This is 8 4/5. And I usually don't mess with mixed numbers, but since I'm going to put this on a number line and I'm not sure where 44/5 is, it makes sense to go ahead and do that. Multiply by 7 on this one as well, both sides, and I'm going to get 5x minus 2 is greater than 28. I'm going to add the 2. 5x is greater than 30. X is greater than 6. So, come on. Thank you. On a number line, let's just check it. 6 is here. 8 4/5 is over here. Less than this guy, greater than this guy. And so we have everything in between. Okay. Finally, just some challenge questions. And this is kind of where I want you to not be in autopilot mode. So let's pretend we just did a bunch of math and got it down to these answers. Now, before we just say, bang, there's my answer, I'm a genius, let's go ahead and put it on a number line and see what it's telling me. Here's 5. Here's 7. X is less than 5. That's going to be everything over here. And X is less than or equal to 7. So that would be everything here. This is an and question, so I'm looking for the overlap. Where do we overlap? Looks like it starts right here at 5. But 5 is not the answer because 5 is not in this set, in this first one, but it is less than 7. So my actual answer, the one that I need to report, is right here. Here is my answer. And this is why I keep talking about it's important that your points go on the number line. We can do the scratch work ahead like I did here or above, but we actually have to translate. And then, especially because this answer doesn't really tell the real full story, let's rewrite it and tell us that the answer is actually just x is less than 5. This would be the answer to the question. That's where the overlap is. So let's go to B. Let's not assume we know what's going on. Don't go into autopilot mode. Let's think it through. Here's 5. Here's 4. X is greater than 5. That's everything this way. X is greater than 4. That's everything this way. So we have a similar scenario happening as we did on part A, but this time it's OR. So any point that's listed is an answer. So 4.0001 is an answer because it's an answer to this one. It's not an answer to that one. There's overlap here, but I'm not looking for the overlap. So I don't care that there's overlap, other than it means that me saying x is less or greater than 5 doesn't really have any meaning because we're already saying x is greater than 4. And so my answer would be x is greater than 4. All right, 2 more. All right, don't assume you know what's going on. Let's see what's happening here. Here's -1. Here's 4. So this is telling me to do x is less than -1. That's this way. X is greater than 4. That's this way, but we have to focus on the word and. There is no overlap, so this one actually has no solution. And finally, one more question here. Number line. Here's 1, here's 6. X is less than 6, and x is greater than 1. But we're looking for the word or. And notice every number is covered, so this is all real numbers. All right, hope that helps. Let me know if you need any help in class.